This is why in a professional gig you need somebody to watch your feet because you don't know if a kid's there. You don't want to trample anyone. But it's something to assess when you're about to put on a costume of where your vision's going to be. So just put the head on, get a feel for how the vision's going to be. Now there's another caveat, and I don't have the head to perfectly demonstrate this, but I call it the neck down syndrome, where you have to also assess where your character's eyes are. Because when you're making eye contact with a kid, your eyes might actually be looking down into the muzzle. And actually, when you try to look at, you think you're looking at a kid, you're actually staring off into space. Or another thing is, sometimes when you're doing a photo shoot and you want to make sure that you're looking forward, sometimes heads have too much space around the head. My rabbit suit Heyu has that, and what happens is, well, I think I'm actually looking straight. I'm actually looking too far down. But I think I'm looking straight because my actual eyes are looking straight. And so the best way to get around that is you can always take like a piece of foam and actually put it on the backing of the head. That way, it's a tighter fit, and it'll make your head stay up straighter and actually give more control over your head. And that's another thing about emotions, things like nodding and whatnot. Since this thing is actually resting on my shoulders, I don't have very much control. So when I'm trying to nod, it doesn't always quite show, unless you get really used to it. But with a little backing on it, like a piece of foam, you have much better control of how you emote your head and whatnot, or nodding and twisting and things like that. Because most helmets, especially professional costumes, have it where it actually is resting on your shoulders. So instead of working with your neck, you're actually nodding with your shoulders. So if you're saying no, it's like this. Yes? So part of mascot heads like this is always put just a little of your back and shoulder right to it. Don't throw it out, of course. But always know that most of your emotions are hanging on the outward parts of your body, like your shoulder, mostly your shoulders. When you're waving, things like that. Make sure that your emotions are clear, concise, take your time with them, and to see the character come out. That's basically that when it comes to being inside the character. Another thing to go over is that most suits, as again I've said, most suits when they have character suits usually have a muzzle that blocks your vision downward, and most suits have the biggest problem with that because the children love to ankle bite. Ankle biters are kids that they're not hard to interact with, but they're like, Clifford! Crunch! And you're trying to walk forward because you keep moving, trying to find more of the crowd to interact with, but you don't want to trample them, except for some kids do not have the idea, they haven't discovered physics yet. And so, number one is to have a guy with you at all times so that kids don't get trampled, but also make sure that, exaggerate your expressions, step lightly. Sometimes it may be good to drag your feet because some feet, like Heyu's feet, actually stick out quite a bit. So I have a little more punting range that I don't want to be accidentally throwing about. And I don't want to be punting kids about because then I'm fired. Yeah, so the bigger the shoe, the lighter you step, even if you have to drag your feet. Also, if you like to dance, I love to dance. You've got to have someone with you to make sure that it's so clear to dance. Give them some, before you get on suit, give them some kind of signal that you can understand, just to say, make sure that the cloud is clearly so that he can dance and skip a little bit. Because everybody likes the animated character, and people love people who can just dance. Even if you're not like a full freestyle dancer and you don't have to be, dancing in a suit for some reason, as compared to doing it in person, actually looks a lot cooler. That's another thing, is be relaxed in the suit, because remember I said half the gig is showing up. But most motions, like, let's put it this way. If you went into a store like Fred Meyer or Walmart across the street, not in your costume, just by yourself, and you sat in the middle of the floor, would that look strange? Yeah. Now if he got out in the middle of Walmart and sat on the floor, it's actually humorous, it's acceptable. There's a whole lot of freedom inside this suit. When you put on that suit, you become the character that you're wearing, and when you wear that character, some of the rules can be bent. You can get away with it. He's not going to go to jail, but I would. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of freedom that you can express in there, as long as you remember to express, fully, and step lightly, to make sure, if you're not bound to the laws of physics, the kids still are. Some of it actually works some of the time, and it's a great way because sometimes It just works. Mimicking where a kid's scared. When a kid gets scared of you, you get scared back. Okay, let's go ahead. Actually, just portray the mascot coming towards me, just a little kid. Oh, no, I'll be the mascot, you be the kid. Get down.
Wolf.
Bark like a dog.
When a kid gets scared, sometimes you can run behind your helper and act scared too. Make sure to shake your knees and your elbows, and just every now and then beat on behind the person and lean late. It's never a confrontation, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But sometimes it does tickle kids, sometimes it just tickles parents. And usually the parent will get the idea that the kid may never come to like the mascot, but it still creates a good interaction no matter what happens. So acting scared, imitating the kids, sometimes the best way to get around it. So that's one idea for handling scared people. What's another good situation? Okay, I'll be the kid this time. Okay. You're under arrest. It's okay. We'll double your pay. Very good. Imitating the kid. Remember, if any dances that you do look even better in suit than before. A lot of kids do like that. My next kid? Okay. I'll see you later. I'm going to lunch.
Second in suit.
You're a Chuck E. Cheese. You're a kid.
Notice how the character gets down, lowers himself.
Here's another. That's great. Here's another idea. Here, you can get that. This is something I like to do with kids sometimes. It's basically almost the same tactics as a scary kid. But actually, sometimes finding a cartoonish way to use somebody, even your guide can be a prop. So I like to use this guy as a shield. Okay, so I'm going to do, set this up here real quick. My brain's kind of scattered right now. I'm going to be nice guy. Kid, get over here.
He has the best suit.
Okay, here's actually, sorry. You get the mascot. And what you're going to do is that you're having approach with the kid. He's not crying, but he's pretty nervous. So one of the best things to do is, it gets a laugh out of people, is using your guide as a human shield. Kind of sneak up behind him and push me forward just gently. And it usually gets a laugh out of people. Okay, so go ahead and the kid. Hey. No, it doesn't matter what the kid might. The kid's going to have whatever reaction he has, but it usually lightens the mood a little bit by using your guide as kind of a prop towards people. It gets them laughing a little bit. The kid will have a good reaction or not. Remember, if she doesn't want any reaction, don't force it. But basically, keep a distance. security. No, but your guys can definitely be used as a prop. Don't be too rough with them. I maybe pushed them a little too hard. But you always keep a gentle play and whatnot. And remember, make sure to step lightly when you do that kind of stuff.